Hey guys, welcome to ROBOTOBZOR. Today we'll test and review the first robot lawnmower that I got to see. This is a new 2021 model, Robomow RT300, which costs around $1,000. A little history around it. The Israel company Robomow was established in 1995 and has been making robot lawnmowers now for over 25 years. The manufacturers made a lot of updates from the previous RX-20. Most importantly, a better battery, a front wheel for better stability and a new wheel protector, which allowed the robot to go cross-country. Later on, I'll test the robot in full and tell you if you should to get this model or a robot lawnmower at all. Again, this model cost around $1,000. In case you do want to buy it, the store link is in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with my latest reviews. And now let's get cracking. Let's start with the box. Besides the robot, I found a charging station base, the base station head, the power supply unit, an extension cord measuring 10 meters, the manual, 125 meters loop wire, pegs for attaching the loop wire, a ruler to measure the distance from the edge of the lawn to the loop wire, a loop wire connecting kit, pegs for the base, as well as a tool to take out the wheels and razor. This model has everything you need to operate the robot. You won't need to buy anything extra, which is great. Let's see how our robot looks. It came in dark green and somewhat reminds me of a turtle. On the outer shell we see the Robomow logo and control panel. On it are waterproof buttons, stop which stop the cycle and bring the robot back to the station, and a green one which start the cycle. In between are lights that indicates the robot's status. On the backside there is a handle for the carrying robot around. On the front there is a docking window with contact plates. And on the side you can find a height adjuster. Let's talk about it a bit more. Robomow RT300 has a grass height regulator. There are 4 modes which are easy to change by pressing and rotating the knob. The shortest height is only 15 mm, and the highest mode reaches 60 mm, and this is obviously the highest you can go. Here is how the razor moves when the height changed. Well, here are wheels. They're pretty big and have a good tire treads. Getting ahead on myself here, but I will to say that Robomow RT300 works great off-road. Next, I would like to bring your attention to the ignition key. You can find it right above the docking window. This key completely shuts off the robot when it's removed from the keypad. So without the key you can't use the robot. Don't forget to take out the key when you are cleaning the robot, especially the razors. In addition to the pin code, it also have an anti-thief system. I'll also note that the robot's shell has some very important warnings, so make sure to read them. Make sure to keep out of reach of children. Make sure to follow the instructions. And make sure to stay out of the robot's way. Basically, just make sure to read the safety instructions before use. Now let's flip it and take a look at the bottom. The main thing you should notice is the razor located in the center, as well as the mulch cleaner which cleans the robot from grass while moving. As I said before, this model got a brake wheel to better stabilize the robot while moving. So that's all regarding the parts. But let me add some more info about the base. The base head has a port to plug in the charging cable. The head can be attached like this. The charging works from the procs attached to the robot. Basically nothing is too complicated. Quite simple. I have pretty good first impression. The plastic is solid, it works well, and the robot itself looks pretty cool. The main features of Robomow RT300 mentioned by the company are shown on the screen. I recommend pausing the video to read all of the information. Now let's look a bit closer at the general function of Robomow RT300. The robot is controlled through the Robomow app. The robot is connected to the phone via Bluetooth, which sadly means it only works from short distance. So you can't use the robot from work. Older models also have this sit back. Downloading the app is super easy and hassle-free. Just follow step-by-step instructions. The battery life is displayed on the top of the main operating panel. Below you can enable a mowing schedule. When setting up the schedule, you can choose the time and days for the cycle, as well as the number of mowing cycles and the starting point, from the base or from a given point. I'll come back to this. Well, in addition, you can choose the length of the mowing cycle, 30, 60 or 75 minutes. Let's go back to the control panel. Here you can view the mowing history. start manual control of the robot if necessary, or send the Robomow RT300 to the base for charging. In the menu section you can change the name of the robot, set a password for the lawnmower, so that intruders cannot use it if they steal it from your site, and also configure the parameters of the lawn. This section needs to be discussed later in more details. You can set an approximate lawn area and set a starting point. This is necessary if you have several mowing zones. In my case, there are two of them: the main side and the playground with a narrow path leading to it. So that the robot could mow the lawn in this area with high quality, I made a starting point. And when setting up the schedule, I started the robot to mow the main area, and then mow the playground area. Here is how it went down. Robomow RT300 followed the wire to the necessary point and start cutting the grass from the point that was set by you. That is super cool. Additionally, you can turn on child lock, set up notifications, and choose one of 3 signal types to eliminate interference if other robotic lawn mowers are nearby. You can also set the time, date, area units and language. If necessary, you can update the app and contact support. And on the main working panel, if you click on the big button Start, the robotic lawn mower will start. Before doing this, you must choose the starting point and the length of the mowing cycle. That is basically it regarding Robomow RT300, not a lot to add. Again, there is nothing to compare this mower with, therefore, as a first-timer. I have nothing to say about its abilities, specifically what is missing. Getting ready the robot for launch took me several hours. First of all, I planned out where the base station would be located and made blueprints of route and laying the perimeter wire. At this step, my recommendation is to carefully study the instructions, as everything is there in detail. For the route of the perimeter wire, I manually moved the grass to comfortably lay the wire on the ground. After that, I laid the wire around the perimeter and connected the ends of the wire as well as the power supply to the base station. The indicator lights up green, which means you did everything right. Good job! I put the robot on the base and was getting ready for my first launch. And finally, let's move on to the test. I haven't cut the grass in over a month, on purpose to test what the Robomow RT300 is capable of. As you can see, the weeds have grown much higher than knee-high. The manual indicated that the height of the grass should be no more than 15 centimeters. But it is interesting what will happen to the robot in such rough conditions, and if its effort will be worthwhile. To my surprise, Robomow survived these conditions. It ran through like a tank, breaking the tall weeds and trying to knock them down with a razor. The razor stops and the robot gets tangled in the tall grass. But after a few minutes of resistance, it still managed to get out of the brush and continue its mowing cycle. It surprised me with its off-road ability and perseverance. In such conditions, its efficiency is extremely low. So I decided not to overwork the robot and decided to make it easier for him to achieve normal conditions. I used a trimmer to cut the grass to recommended 15 centimeters and continued testing. So when mowing low grass, the Robomow RT300 copes with its main task much better. After each attempt, skinny trails were left behind. The movement algorithm of the robotic lawn mower is chaotic. It moves in a free direction without leaving the guards of the boundary wire. On the first day, the look of the lawn didn't really change. But you should not expect quick results right away. I set up the mowing schedule and started the robot on the main lawn, then in additional area on the playground. And here are the results of 2 weeks of daily attempts. As you can clearly see, the grass has been given a fresh look, and the lawn looks flat, trimmed and visually good looking. Only the trees along the curb, fence, as well as around the bushes and trees which are protected by a perimeter wire remained unmown. In reality, it is good to move the boundary wire as closer to the edge as possible. But unfortunately, this is current setback of robotic lawn mowers. They cannot mow the area along the fences, as the razor gets damaged on the obstacles and damages bushes, tree trunks and other objects. In older models, this problem is partially solved by moving the razor on the edge of the case. And in the case of the RT300, this section will have to be moved manually with a trimmer. Although if your lawn edge is conjoined to the rest of the flat areas of the soil, with the correct length of the perimeter wire, there may not be any unmown zones at all. Now I'll show you how the robot automatically returns to the base to charge. I will simulate the situation by pressing a button. Robomow RT300 moves toward the edge. finds the laid boundary wire and follows it towards the base. The plugin is neat and the charging is automatic, very convenient. And finally, let's take a look at your robot after the mowing is done. As you can see, there is no grass left, meaning the mulch cleaner does its job effectively. Before expressing a personal opinion about the Robomow RT300, at the request of my subscribers, I would like to pay special attention to the operation of the lawnmower under irregular conditions. This mainly being in rain. You can safely run the robot under rain, as nothing will happen to it. It is well protected from the moisture getting inside from above. The base and charging pins will also function normally and pose no danger. Everything is safe, and even if you or a child touch the exposed charging pins, even in the rain nothing will happen. But it's safer to not verify this with a test. Remember to follow safety precautions. Though personally I do not recommend running the robot in the rain. Wet soil and clipped grass will cause the robot to slip, grass to stick and create dirt on the protectors, which can render it unusable and entail manual intervention. It is much better to run the robot in dry weather, as it will mow the lawn more efficiently and not require any help. Robomow RT300 does its job safely, but still requires you to comply with safety regulation. Importantly, do not rinse the bottom and razors with water. The bottom of the robot is less protected from moisture and may fail if soaked. Pull out the key or set the mowing prohibition from the application if there are strangers on the site, especially children or pets. In the winter, it's recommended to store the robot and the base in a dry, heated storage room. Before doing this, however, fully charge the battery and turn off the power. The perimeter wire and base station can remain outside. Nothing will happen to them even under a layer of snow. If you have accidentally damaged the perimeter wire, for example with a shovel, you will not be electrocuted. The voltage is safe for humans. For these purposes, the manufacturer recommends additionally to protect the power line of the mower with a surge protector. If you missed something or have any questions, write in the comments below. If relevant, I will prepare a separate video about the Robomow RT300 robotic lawnmower and answer the most interesting and important questions. After a month of operating the Robomow RT300, I have formed an opinion about this model, and in general about this type of device as robotic lawnmower. Here are the advantages it presented to me. This is an extremely effective robot which keeps your lawn up in a good state, if properly used of course. Has a great anti-thief system. Has the ability to customize mowing according to schedule, which makes the device completely automatic. The perimeter wire really helps protect trees and other objects in the area. The model has a good grass height regulator. Really quiet. Robomow RT300 is waterproof, good even off-road. The more you use it, the better it will cope with the knee-height grass. Multi-zone moving capability. The largest setback of the robot are chaotic movement, and as a result the amount of time to get the lawn in order can reach several weeks. In my opinion, if the robot cleaned with a snake-like pattern and along the perimeter, like robot vacuum cleaners with advanced navigation, it would be better. But in robotic lawn mowers, things are not so simple. You can put a camera in them for navigation, and the LiDAR scanner is not so easy to put here, as the site may not have vertical boundaries. As a result, the robot has to work within the boundaries of the light perimeter wire and move less thoughtfully. However, the manufacturer claims that the Robomow RT300 has a movement algorithm, and this is not just chaotic moving. In practice, the main thing is that the effect of the robot is there, and the lawn is really well moved after several dozen cycles. Another disadvantage is the non-moving area along walls and objects. Here again, the main problem is not to damage the razor and object when clipping closely. But in my opinion, it would be possible to implement something like a side brush, for example in robotic vacuum cleaners. Instead of a razor, install a reel of fishing line, as in trimmers, and so that the inaccessible area are moved with a fishing line. Well, and the third remark, which relates directly to this model, control over Wi-Fi is not provided. Any actions can be performed only within the range of the Bluetooth connection, which is no more than 10 meters. As a result, there is no way to launch the robot remotely, although the manufacturer indicates the control by a GSM is available as an option. Though in practice, if you correctly set up a cleaning schedule, you will not need to approach the robot, except for periodic visual inspection and cleaning. Honestly, for me personally, the advantages of the Robomow RT300 outweigh the disadvantages. And I believe that the robot is definitely worth its money and does a great job. It's efficient, self-contained, safe and really unproblematic. I definitely recommend buying. On this note, I would like to end the review. If you have any questions, ask them below in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with my latest reviews. Enjoy shopping. Bye!